Okay, so I'm here with the USA coach, Janneke Schopman, who a lot of people will know has won quite a few medals with the Dutch international team as well. So it's a great pedigree for the US team to have Janneke coaching them. So I just got some questions for you, Janneke. So you've really got a talented bunch of players here. What do you think the challenges are for you to take them to the next level?
I think we have, like you said, a lot of talent, but we also lack a little bit of experience. So for us, we really take it just one game at the time, and you see we have our experienced players that I think are still nowhere near their potential. Our key players that played in the Rio Olympics have a lot more to give, and then we have all the young players that are coming up, and yeah, the half of our team hasn't played more than 10 caps, I would say. So you see those players, they just have to learn to play at the international level and get used to the pressure. And I think the biggest challenge for our country is that we don't have that many games that we play, because we don't have that club system where normally a lot of players get the opportunity to at least play games. So I think that is our biggest challenge. How can we compete consistently in a training environment that kind of emphasizes that game experience?
You had a lot of experience with the youngsters anyway beforehand, didn't you? Because you were involved in the coaching of the youngsters. So you know these girls before you brought them on board, yeah?
I did, yes, and for me it's great to have been working with them for the last 3 years. I think there's a lot of potential in the US, and these young girls in the US, they don't want anything else but playing hockey, and sometimes it's interesting to see what a different mindset that is at times, and they're keen to learn, and they're embracing learning new things, listening, they're open for suggestions, and I think we had a good run the last 2.5 years, and you see that by playing in the under-21, and we played the Dutch under-21 team, we played the Argentinian under-21 team a couple of times, and that gives them the experience. And actually seeing here, they're a little bit more comfortable playing the national team of Argentina, because they're like, well, we've played some of these girls as well. So I think that experience definitely helps.
Fantastic. So what part of your coaching would you say has got your Schopman kind of stamp on it?
I don't know, you probably should ask the girls. I think I myself, I don't try to copy anyone. I've learned a lot from great coaches in the past, whether it was club or national team in Holland. I thoroughly enjoyed playing myself, and I think I'm a coach that I would have liked to have when I was a player, and that's how I like to coach. I was pretty quickly bored as a player, especially in a training environment, so I'd like to make it exciting, fun, challenging, give them new things to think about. But yeah, mostly I want them to play front foot, and I want them to be themselves, because I think ultimately we can all want to be like this great player, but in the end everyone has unique qualities, and I want them to show them, everyone individually at that team. That's why they're here, and that's maybe one of my biggest focus points.
So we spoke to your captain Melissa the other day after one of the matches, after your first match. And she said that you asked them to control the controllables. So can you explain that philosophy?
Well, I think you have, I think the mental side of the game, or, well, in my experience as a player, that's going to make the difference between winning and losing. And obviously you need to have the skill and the tactical and technical qualities, and obviously not all the countries are at the same level, but, you know, with Holland playing the top 5 or top 3 of the world, the mental side of the game changes things. And I've played too many games that I've learned from, and we lost, and then finally in my later career we also won games, and it all had to do with control the controllables. We don't know, we don't have the control over an umpire or over the field or over what the weather might be, and I say to the girls often, you can get frustrated about it, you can get frustrated even about your teammate doing certain things, but in the end you can just help them and encourage them, and focus on you, and focus on what influence you can have and what positive influence you can have, more importantly.
Absolutely. So obviously with coming from Holland as a massive hockey playing country, what's the main difference, would you say, in the way US has hockey and back in Holland?
Well, I think field hockey. I started to say field hockey here. People say field hockey is like, what are you talking about? It's hockey. So I always say in Holland, hockey is a big sport in a small country, and in the US, field hockey is a small sport in a big country. And you see the difference in media attention. Like in Holland, the Dutch girls are stars, and everyone knows them, and everyone wants to be them. I think we have a great hockey community in the US, and it's arguably as big as in Holland, but our country is just way smaller, you know, so it easily fits in the state of Pennsylvania. So it's just no comparison, and I think the struggle is more ingraining the culture with this sport, and I think our team is trying that. There's more and more youth hockey. You see there's U10s now playing, U12s, and I think that's what the sport needs. I think especially from the group that retired from Rio, girls started playing when they were 16, 17, and that's a huge difference with Holland. And obviously the club system, what we're used to, that doesn't really exist in the US for any sport, and I think a club system is a great system. I love it, and I think it's, you know, gives everyone the opportunity to do what they love, and that's unfortunate, like I said, also because like we train hard. The girls train very hard, I would say, maybe even harder than in Holland, but what you miss is the game and the consequences of playing a game, because you know, I can make a mistake in training, but no one really cares after done. But if I make a mistake in a game, I don't feel so good afterwards, and so that's a big difference.
So obviously, you know, you'd like to win everything in the world and all the gold medals and that, but realistically, what do you think you can achieve in the next couple of years with the USA squad?
I think I don't know. I think this group is very talented, and I said also to people in the US, I think it's not realistic to expect us to break into the top 3 of the world consistently, because you have hockey countries like Holland, like England, that put a lot of money towards it. Then you have Australia, New Zealand, Argentina. Argentina is great. They have a great pool of talent, and I've seen them develop, and I think they'll be a big contender next couple of years. But that doesn't say that we're a team on the periphery where I think consistently we won't be able to match up with those teams, but I think we can get closer and closer and go to the 70-30 times that we play them, that we might win 3 out of the 10 times instead of maybe just 1 out of the 10 times. And I think when that happens, especially if we can focus that on the bigger tournaments, then I think it's interesting to see, because people always talk about how we are physically a great team, and I agree. I'm very impressed myself with their physical ability, but I also think more and more we have skill. We have players that can eliminate and use very good stick skills and scoring skills, and I think that part will bring us closer to that top 3, arguably.
Well, you've done consistently better than 30% against the Argentinians in the last couple of years, haven't you? I don't think they're happy about that.
No, they're not, and I also think, I mean, I can't really relate to that, but it's like Holland playing Germany, arguably, and you know, in the moments that it counts. I mean, I still remember Athens, so you know, it's like the underdog winning at times that you least won it almost, and. We like to play Argentina. I like to play Argentina. When I play for Holland, I like to play Argentina. I think they're a skillful team. They want to play hockey, and I think we want to play hockey. And I think the last years were also more playing and competing rather than just stopping them. And I think that makes the games interesting. But I think they're very good, and consistently it's going to be hard for us to be better than them for sure.
When I seen USA at the Champions Trophy, they reminded me of Argentina, because Argentina, they're not the same as Holland. Holland are very clinical, they're very, you know, tactical and clinical, whereas Argentina are very, you know, just they grind out the results, and USA did that. So, you know, are you going to try and get a mix of both of that, really?
I think the decision making under pressure is something I put a lot of emphasis on, and again it comes back to playing games and trusting yourself in making the right decision. Holland's used to it. I can't really explain it. It's just what we do and what we've learned. Argentina's more emotional. I would say. I think we are a little bit of a mix. I think we have this determination for that, you know, it's going to happen, and we'll do whatever it needs. And I think that's something that's always been in the culture, and I really admire, and was, well, not surprised by it, but I was really impressed by it. How the girls always, out of a bad situation, they'll make it work, and they'll grind it out, for lack of a better word. I think that's an impressive quality, and yeah, we also want to use a little bit of more composure at times, because we don't need to like run around like headless chickens. Sometimes we can also just take a little bit of a step back, and the girls are really open to it. So we'll see where we go, because I don't want to take too much away from our culture.
Yeah, absolutely. So the FA are going to be introducing the new Pro Hockey League. What are your thoughts on that?
I think if you look at the hockey, world hockey, if you want to make a difference, you have to do it like this. I think there's a lot of potential in the US to create more of a TV crowd. If I talk to my US friends, most of them never have watched hockey before. Kind of the team came to Lancaster, and they were introduced to it, and they loved the sport. And I think US people in general would like it, because it's a skillful sport. The rules don't deter them. I mean, we have American football that people need lots of time to think about how that exactly works. So I think in that respect, it's a huge draw, and if we can play consistently, if we can play games that hopefully draws in a little bit of more of a crowd. And for us, I mean, like I said, we don't have the club system, so to be able to play games consistently throughout 6 months of the year is a great opportunity. Am I worried about the logistics? Sure. I mean, worried is a big word, but it is going to be interesting how we're going to manage this, because, you know, the girls being away from home for a long time, that's all different than what we're used to right now.
Absolutely. Well, it remains to be seen what happens there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, just finally, you've won the opening 2 games of this tournament. You're sitting at the top of the table. Obviously, that must be great. But how far do you think you can go in this? Do you think you can go all the way?
I'd like to say yes, and I honestly don't know. I think what you see in this tournament is you have the lower ranked teams that actually have a very balanced team. I think if you looked at Chile, they have a team that's been together for 3-4 years. The same is arguably the case for South Africa, for Ireland, and then Japan, and then you see Germany and our team, and we have a lot of new blood, new players. England has that too. So you kind of see a nice blend of where everyone is competitive. You don't see many big scores. I think it's good for female hockey. It's also, we have to just focus on ourselves and play the best we can be. I think we can beat everyone, but I also think on a bad day everyone can beat us.
It's the same in any sport, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah.
But listen, thanks ever so much for your time today.
You're welcome.
I wish you all the best for the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
Thanks, Janneke.
Alrighty.